Good morning, welcome back to the springs. In this second video of springs, we see the various symbols used in the spring design, the problems on helical compression springs applied for different applications like valve springs, narrow gauge cars, multi-storied building lifts, etc. You see the symbols again just for brushing up. We have got F as the axial force, small d is the wire diameter, capital D mean coil diameter, P is the pitch, is the distance between two consecutive coils, L0 is the height of the spring, free height of the spring, and Y is the deflection, C spring index is the ratio of capital D by small d. That K is called Wahl's curvature factor, is a ratio of the spring index in terms of some equation like this, 4C minus 1 by 4C minus 4 plus 0.615 divided by C is the equation number here. I is active or useful number of coils that are giving us deflection. I dash is total number of coils which include some unwanted coils, extra coils to be used and added to the active coils so that we get total number of coils is the addition of useful coils plus useless coil N. N depends on the end conditions we have seen in the previous video. N is 0 for plain ends, N equal to 1 for squared R ground ends, and the best condition in our design will be always N equal to 2. We always take N equal to 2 assuming squared and ground ends. This is given in the table 20-14 page number 18. Then tau is the shear stress which we will take whenever material is given. We go to the table, select the torsional elastic limit. In the table there are two properties given, tensile property, torsional properties. So for helical springs we use torsional property. Torsional elastic limit is also called as tau y, and we take a factor of safety of 1.5 or 2, calculate the allowable shear stress. If the shear stress is given directly, no need of all this. Assume G also from the table. Table depends on the material, he would have given you the value of G. Then F0 is stiffness, P is the pitch, length of wire. These are the symbols we are going to use in the design of helical spring. We have already seen the procedure. There are 7 steps in this, and we require 5 values for the design of a spring. One is the load coming. What is the load coming? What is the required deflection? Spring index, allowable shear stress, rigidity modulus. These are the 5 things required for us to design any helical compression spring. At least 2 minimum things are required. What is the load coming on the spring and what is expected deflection. Then we can select the spring index. Normally best design of spring index varies from 5 to 10. We will take safely some 6 or something. We can assume spring index. We take material for the spring, maybe oil tempered steel wire, music wire, chrome vanadium steel or silico-manganese steel. We go to table, take torsional elastic limit tau y from the table, select factor of safety, then calculate the allowable shear stress. Also select the G value from the table. First I have done a simple problem which is given, all the values are given here. Design a helical compression spring to support a load of 3 kilonewtons. 3 kilonewtons is the load given. The deflection under the load is expected to be 60 mm. If I apply 3 kilonewtons here, it should deflect by 60 mm. The spring index is given as 5. Then allowable shear stress directly given 345. Rigidity modulus also is given 79.34. We want these 5 values which are given directly. First and the foremost is design using the shear stress equation. Tau equal to 8FDK by pi d cube is what is given in the data handbook, page number 20-8, table of equation 2022. What we do here for convenience, take capital D by small d, one of the small d as C here. Then I am left with d square in the denominator. So this equation is more convenient for us to use directly. So I will be using this equation from now onwards. These two are same. Here capital D means I get d cube. D by d, if I replace by C here, I get only d square here. And K, first we find out the K, Wahl's curvature factor. Before substituting the values, find the K for given value of C. C is given as 6. So K comes to 1.2525. Then substituting all the values in the shear stress equation, 345 is the given shear stress, 8 F C K by pi d square. Simplify, we get D as 12.899. Round off conveniently to a whole number, 13 mm. So wire diameter required is 13 mm for this problem. Then other things are proportions only. This is the major design. The mean coil diameter is always C into D. C is defined as capital D by small d. So C into D, we get 78. Outside diameter of the coil is always D plus D. Inside diameter of the coil is D minus D. So these three are the values related to the coil: outside dia, inside dia, mean coil dia. Mean coil dia is what is used for all design calculations. So I repeat, first we will take the tau equation. From the tau equation, we calculate the shears, we calculate the wire diameter. Before that, we have to calculate the K, substitute. Then mean coil diameter, wire diameter, outside diameter, inside diameter of the coil. Then step number T3. We have deflection Y equation, 8F capital D Q by G D power 4 is given in page number 8, equation 2029. This equation is interrelated with Y and I. Sometimes we want deflection of 60 mm. How many coils should I use it to get the deflection? Or if I am using some number of coils, like say 10 coils, if I use, what deflection I get? The equation remains same. And we find out the unknown. If Y is given, we use Y and find out I. If I is given, we find Y from this equation. Y is given as 60, so 8F capital D cube I by G D power 4. I am going to get 18 coils are required to give the deflection of 60 mm. But this is active coils. So then we find out the free length, height of the spring is given by an equation 2053 in page number 20. I plus N into D is the solid height plus the required deflection plus some clearance extra for convenience. So solid length is I plus N. N is extra coils what we use always. Always we take N as 2, assuming squared and ground ends. We always take the best condition is always N equal to 2, assuming squared and ground ends, which is given in table below the equation number 2053. It is given the below the equation. We have seen in the table earlier, plane ends N is 0, squared ends or ground ends N is 1, squared and ground, if both works are done, N is 2, 2 coils are lost there. So total number of coils is I plus N is I plus 2 always for our assumption, because we always take the best condition squared and ground ends. So then we get the, and A is clearance. Always he recommends that 25% of the deflection should be the clearance between the coils, so that some extra load can be carried by the spring. Always we take A as 25 into Y. So we got the height of the spring here. Then next step is to find out the pitch. Pitch is distance between two coils. Is for this condition of squared and ground ends, pitch equation from the table is L0 minus 2D by I, and we find out the pitch. This is required to manufacture the spring. And then lastly we have the stiffness. Stiffness is always how much load we require for the deflection of 1 mm, active deflection. So F by Y is the equation for stiffness. We have the load, we have the deflection. We need to apply 50 newtons to give an mm deflection, 1 mm deflection, like that. Then length of the wire is always the total length we require to manufacture the spring. Pi into d is the length of one coil. I dash is total number of coils. So we calculate the length of the wire. So these are the 7 steps involved in this calculation of a spring. This is a very simple problem. We'll see the application from now onwards. This problem number 2 talks about a spring to be used for a valve, safety valve. Suppose for example, like our pressure cooker, there is a safety valve, dead weight safety valve, like that. When the pressure increases inside the pressure cooker, it lifts the valve, the steam will leak through. When the steam pressure falls down, the dead weight will close it again. Instead of dead weight, we for big boilers and all that, we cannot go for big dead weights. So we go for spring loaded safety valve or IC engine safety valve, like that. He has given here the maximum pressure, the operating pressure. Nothing should happen when the pressure up to 1 MPa, the valve should not open. When the pressure increases from 1 to 1.1, it should open by 6 mm. Diameter of the valve seat is 100 mm. Chrome material is given, chrome vanadium steel, factor of safety, spring index. So here force also is not given, deflection also not given. So what he has given is the spring safety valve, spring loaded safety valve should give you these conditions here. So from the operating pressure, maximum pressure acting on the valve, then what is the lift required, diameter of the seat, and material. So I have listed down the given data here. Minimum pressure is given as 1 megapascal, maximum pressure is given as 1.1 megapascal. During the pressure increase from 1 to 1.1, the valve will lift by 6 mm. Valve seat diameter is 100 mm where the pressure is acting. Spring index 5.5, material chrome vanadium steel, and from the table 20-10 for chrome vanadium steel, the torsional elastic limit, right side properties in the table. There are two properties here. One is tensile property, other one is torsional properties. Under torsional properties, elastic limit, tau y is 0.69, 690 MPa, and rigidity modulus is given as 79 GPa in the table. So divide by factor of safety and get the allowable shear stress as 460. Then this is the figure to understand how the valve works. When the pressure inside the cylinder is 1 MPa, the valve should not open. The spring is compressed and kept here. It will always push it downward, like our safety valve in the cooker. It is always acting downward, pushing this fellow. Though there is a steam pressure inside, it is not opening. When the pressure increases from 1 to 1.1, slowly the valve is lifting up here. You can see the valve is lifted up here. The extra steam will go through this, leaks through this, and then there is a lift of 6 mm. When the pressure is changed from 1 to 1.1, there is a lift caused is 6 mm. The increase in pressure is causing the lift. So first of all, we have to find out the force acting on the spring. That is the first step. So force acting on the spring, whatever the spring carrying the force is the load given by the valve. Whatever the load coming in the valve, it is pushing the spring. So force acting on the spring equal to force acting on the valve seat. Valve seat, what is the pressure acting and how much it is pushing upward. So the spring is carrying the same load. Suppose spring is not there, valve will be simply pushed out. So spring is supporting the load here. So area of the valve seat into pressure, area into pressure is the force here. Area of the valve is pi d square by 4 is the diameter of the valve into the pressure. Since we have two forces here, minimum force is F1, P1 is used, maximum force is F2, P2 is used here. Then we get the lift of 6 mm when the force has increased from 7,853 to 8,639. The valve should lift by 6 mm. So there is an equation given in page number 20-9, equation 2031 says stiffness F1 Y1, stiffness is load by deflection, F1 corresponding to Y1, F2 corresponding to Y2, then F2 minus F1 is giving Y2 minus Y1. So if you cross multiply this equation, Y2 equal to F2 into Y2 minus Y1 is nothing but Y dash by F2 minus F1. This equation gives us what is the maximum deflection. So we have taken a spring, compressed it by 60 mm here. Initially 60 mm we have compressed and pushing it downward. When the pressure increases, it is further compressed by 6 mm extra here, lift here. So the total deflection of the spring is 60 initially, 6 mm extra, 66 mm is the final deflection. So we should design the spring always for supporting the maximum load. It should give us the maximum deflection. What is the maximum load coming on the spring? That is during the pressure of 1.1. What is the maximum deflection? Initial deflection already we have 60 mm plus another 6 mm lift, 66. Allowable shear stress material is given. G also we have taken from table, tau is given here. So we have come to a problem number 1 wherein we have got the force, we have got the deflection, allowable shear stress, G and C. So we'll carry out the 7 steps like what we have done for practice. First is the shear stress equation. We said we will not use this equation. We use this equation where we have removed D by D and written as C here. Before substituting in this equation, we have to find out the spring index K, which depends on the C, the Wahl's curvature factor, which depends on the spring index C. So we get the K value as 1.2785. So tau value 8 into F is F2 maximum force, spring index. Then Wahl's curvature factor, we get D as 18.33. We have rounded off to a conveniently 19 mm. Then comes your mean coil dia like earlier, C into D. Inside dia of the coil, D minus D. Outside dia of the coil, D plus D. These are the values for the coil. Then deflection equation, we find out number of coils here like the previous problem. Deflection is given, we find out I. I is coming as 8.6 coils, we round off to conveniently 9 coils. Then we go to free length. What is the height of the spring? Equation 2053, I plus N into D plus Y plus A. This N is always 2 for us, assuming squared and ground ends. A is always clearance. We will always take it as 0.25 into Y. A is always taken as 0.25 into Y. N we always take as 2. Then we calculate the free length and we round off conveniently to 92. Then pitch we calculate. This equation is given in table 2014 for squared and ground ends condition. This equation we are using. Then stiffness, F naught is F by Y, length of wire, pi d I dash is I plus N always. So these are the 7 steps for design, and now onwards what we have seen is force is not given directly. So we have given wall spring, how to calculate force. Then we will see the next type of problem. This is a loaded narrow gauge car, railway wagons. At the end of the railway wagon, there are 2 cylindrical drums between the wagons. When the wagons collide with each other, the springs will compress and reduce the damage. Between the 2 end of the railway wagon, you can see the 2 cylindrical drums projecting outside with a flange between 2 compartments. When they collide each other, the springs will compress and absorb the energy. So here we have got a railway car whose weight is given and velocity is given. This weight and velocity will give us what is known as kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is half into mv square. That energy is stored by the spring. From that relation of energy, we'll try to find the force here. Afterwards, 7 steps of design is very same. So he has given allowable shear, velocity of the movement is given. kmph is kilometers per hour. I have written here kilometer per hour. kmph means. Then we have got the deflection also here. In bringing the car to rest, the springs undergo a compression of 200 mm. Allowable shear stress is 300 MPa. Spring index is 8. Modulus of rigidity is 84,000. So allowable shear stress is given 300. Rigidity modulus, these two are the material properties. Deflection, compression is nothing but deflection. How many springs are resisting the load here? By rest by a bumper consisting of 2 springs. So the energy should be shared by 2 springs here. Weight is given. Velocity we have to convert into mm per second. So kilometers we have converted to meters first by 1000. per hour to minutes and seconds, we get 1.3333 meters per second. Another 1000 we multiply, we get 1333.33 mm per second is the velocity converted from kilometers per hour to mm per second. Then we find out the kinetic energy. Moving mass always gives you kinetic energy. When a weight is falling from a height under gravity, gives you potential energy. Kinetic energy is always half mv square. M is W by Z. Mass is W by Z into V square. So half into W is given by G is 9810. Then velocity square. We get so much of energy created by the moving mass. There are two springs to share. So what is the energy shared by each spring? Is number of springs is divided here. So this much energy is coming on each spring. There is something called resilience, is also called as energy stored by when you compress a spring, it stores the energy. That property is called resilience. RESILIENCE. Resilience means energy stored by the spring. It is always average force into distance moved, Fy by 2. This we have seen in strength of materials also. Fy by 2. Fy by 2 is energy. We equate this energy storing capacity to the energy created. Equate this to energy storing. Fy by 2 is the storing capacity, and the moving weight is giving so much of energy, which we have seen in the previous slide. So how much is the equivalent force we have to apply? What force we have to apply to give you the same type of energy? So this is the force we have calculated. How we have calculated in this case? We first find out the kinetic energy half mv square, then equate that to Fy by 2, then y is given to us. We will find out the equivalent F to be applied to give you the same condition. After this, 7 steps are very easy. We have calculated the load coming on that, deflection is given, shear stress is given, rigidity model is given, spring index given. So please carry out 7 steps like the previous 2 problems. First is to find out the diameter of the wire from the shear stress equation. Then in that we have to find out K and substitute. K depends on C. Second step, we find out the mean coil dia, inside dia of coil, outside dia of coil. Next step, we find out the deflection equation. From the deflection equation, we find the number of coils required. Then step number 4, we find out the free length. In free length, we make a standard assumption that squared and ground ends, so small n equal to always 2. Then clearance A is 0.25 into y always. So we find out the free length. Then after that, pitch of coils, then stiffness, then length of wire required to manufacture the spring. The one more railway wagon here. In this problem, he has given allowable shear stress. A car is moving, a car weighing 20 kilonewtons, moving at a velocity of 250 meters per minute, not kmph here, 250 meters per minute, is brought to rest by a bumper consisting of 4 springs are there here. Then the spring is made of 18 mm wire, diameter wire, spring index is 6 here. Instead of deflection, he has given the diameter of wire and spring index. Allowable shear stress is given. Each spring has 12 active coils. So the number of coils is given. We have to find out the deflection backward. The modulus of rigidity is 80 GPa. So what is given to us in this problem? Again, railway wagon. Railway car means we have to use kinetic energy, horizontal movement here. Allowable shear stress is 360. Rigidity modulus is given as 80 GPa. Number of springs 4. Wire diameter is 18 mm. Number of coils in each spring has got 12 coils. Spring index is C. Mean coil dia is C into D. Weight is given. Velocity meters per minute is given. Meters we convert into mm. Minute converted to seconds. Directly we get 4166.7 mm per second. So here what we should do? First we find out the kinetic energy, that is half mv square. Yes, we have got this value. How many springs are sharing this mv kinetic energy? 4 springs. 4. number of springs is 4. Sorry, I have put 2 here by mistake. It is 4 springs. Number of springs is 4 divided by 4. I am really sorry. This should be read as 4 here. I used 4 springs here. What is the load energy coming on each spring? Equate this to again resilience. Resilience is always Fy by 2. We equate this Fy by 2 and then the given kinetic energy. But unfortunately, and unlike the previous problem, we don't have the Y value with us. So we have a relation between Y and F given by the deflection equation. We substitute the values and find Y as 0.0144 F, 0.014 F. This we substitute in this equation, F into Y by 2, that is resilience, equal to the given value of kinetic energy. So F value we get. One problem Y is given directly, second problem Y is indirectly given in the number of coils and then wire diameter. So after knowing the value of F, we find out the Y, then complete the remaining problem. F is now calculated, Y is calculated, tau, G and C are given in the problem. So 7 steps we calculate and complete the problem. Let's see that next type is a multi-storied lifts are there. At the bottom of lift there will be springs put there. Whenever lift is falling from a height, when the rope is cut or motor is spoiled or because of some brake is not working, it will come and fall on the ground causing damage. So to avoid damage, what we do, we keep series of springs there set in parallel, one by the side of the other, and those springs will absorb the energy. Here the type of energy is potential energy, nothing special. It's like this previous problem, but the energy calculation is not half mv square. All the kinetic energy is converted to potential energy. Finally we have to equate the potential energy to the resilience here. So here we'll see that the bottom of an elevator shaft, there are 12 identical springs. There are 12 springs are there. Then they are used to absorb the shock of the elevator in case of failure. The weight of elevator is 20 kilonewtons and the counterweight is 5 kilonewtons. Counterweight is balancing weight. So what is the falling weight? Weight minus counterweight. Something is balanced. So 5 you have to subtract. The useful weight will be only 15 kilonewtons. From what height it is falling? 1.8 meters. The springs are compressed by, the deflection is given. Allowable shear stress is given. Spring index is given. Modulus of rigidity given. Here also first we have to find out the energy. You can see the figure here. This is the lift. Lift has got a height of 1.8 meters before it falls on this. When the lift is falling on the springs will compress by a value called Y. So what is the distance moved by the elevator? That free fall 1.8 meters plus the deflection is the height from which it is moving. It is moving a height of free fall plus the deflection. You have to take the small h as capital H plus the deflection here. Capital H is the height of fall. There is a counterweight, balancing weight here, which is balancing a portion of this. There are 12 springs kept here at the bottom. So what is the net weight, useful weight? Net weight is weight minus counterweight. Weight minus counterweight. 20,000 minus 5,000 is 15,000. If this waste falls under gravity, develops potential energy, not kinetic energy. So potential energy is given by mgh. M into G is nothing but W, W into H. H is nothing but total distance traveled by the load, that is capital H plus Y. Small h is the total distance traveled by the load. After touching the springs, they will compress by a value called Y. So you should take the total distance H here. Then the H is 1800 plus 300 deflection, 22,100 is what is traveling. So potential energy is W into H. This is the energy here. As usual, how many springs are sharing this? 12 springs are there. What is the energy on each spring? Energy on each spring. Here earlier also we have calculated kinetic energy divided by number of springs. Equate this to resilience always. So Fy by 2 equal to this value. Y is given. So what is the equivalent load F? Once you know the load here, deflection is given, all other 5 data are given, we can complete the 7 steps of design. Finding the small d. Step number 2, finding the mean coil dia, inside dia of the coil, outside of the coil. Step number 3, from the deflection equation we will find the number of coils. Step number 4, we find out the free length, assuming n as 2 always, a as 0.25 into y. Then we find the pitch, then stiffness, then length of wire required. One more problem like this, same bottom of the elevator, deflection is not given. Here wire diameter, number of coils are given. Like the earlier we have done one problem in kinetic energy, similar to that we have to do. First we have to find out there is no counterweight given here. Only weight is given, no counterweight here. So counterweight is 0. So net weight is the given weight here. As usual we find out mgh. Then h is given, we don't know the y value in this, we keep y as unknown here. Therefore total PE equal to W into H, right? This is shared by how many springs? 8 springs are there, divided by 8. So this is the load coming on each spring, and we equate this to the resilience Fy by 2. There are two unknowns here, F and Y. We have done similar problem in railway car kinetic energy problem. What we did there, we take Y, calculate in terms of F, Y value, Y equation we take, calculate in terms of F, that value of Y value we substitute in this. So Y we found out because he has given the wire diameter, mean coil diameter, number of coils is given. So Y we have calculated in terms of F. This Y value we substitute here as well as here and solve for this quadratic equation. We get F value is 19,819. Then Y we can substitute and find out the Y value. With this F and Y and other given data, we complete the 7 steps of design. Then helical springs, 2 springs are there, one inside the other, called concentric springs. We have seen in some of the high-end motorcycles, rear shock absorbers, there are two springs put there on the shock absorber. 2 springs are there having the same center are called concentric springs. 2 springs having the same center, concentric, same center. All outside spring dimensions we use suffix 1. Inside spring, inner spring we use suffix 2. For example, I have written some example here. D is wire diameter, 1 for outer spring, 2 for inner spring. Capital D mean coil dia, 1 for outer spring, 2 for inner spring. Number of coils also, free length also, force also, like that. So how we have to solve such problems? This is very easy. First is we have to find out the load coming on each spring, design the spring separately. How to find the load coming? There are two conditions of the springs here. The first condition is the inner spring and outer spring, they are of the same height, same length. See, there is outer spring here, rectangle, inner spring one more rectangle, height is same. When they apply load here, they compress by same value. So the essential condition is y1 equal to y2 here. So we substitute y1 equation in terms of f1 d1 and all that, f2 d2 for y2 equate. We get a relation f1 equal to 2f2 or 1.5 f2 or 0.6 f2. Some relation we get between f1 and f2. Similarly, the total load given is shared by both the fellows here. So f1 plus f2 equal to f. One condition is f1 equal to something into f2. Other condition is f1 plus f2 equal to f. So substitute this f1 value here in terms of f2 and calculate f1, f2. Design the springs separately. The free lengths are same, y1 equal to y2. With this condition we continue. If free lengths are not same, then obviously one spring will be longer than other. For example, you see the outer spring is longer by a small value called I. First find out how much load is required, to compress this spring by this value. First find the load required to compress the longer spring. Which is the longer spring here? For example, outer spring. How much load we have to apply to compress this by this gap, 10 mm gap, 5 mm gap. So that much load is given to the outer spring first. then what happens? The springs have become same length now. This is compressed by that much. So the remaining length, then the remaining load will be shared by the further equal deflection. From here, the lengths are equal now, y1 equal to y2 like the previous problem. We find out f1, f2, and now the load will be, when the lengths become equal, it's not the total load. Out of this total load, some load is given to outer spring already. So what is the leftover load? Remaining load, Fr. Remaining load is shared by the springs here. So we have to find out y1 equal to y2 condition and f1 plus f2 equal to fr, not f. So we find f1 and f2. So outer spring, what happened? Already we have given him some load fi. Now some more load is coming f1. So what is the total load on outer spring? fi plus f1. Inner spring has got only one load called f2. Then complete the remaining design. So this is the end of the helical springs. Thank you very much. Then we will meet in the third video on non-circular, like rectangular cross section, square cross section springs, disc springs, and laminated truck springs will be the third video. Thank you very much.